told me that I would regret the day I ever sold my Jeep to buy a Land Rover. Pretty much for the last year now, that's like all I've heard whenever I upload a picture of my Land Rover. And people tell me, oh, you gotta be a rich man to own a Land Rover because those are gonna spend all their time in the shop and blah, 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 blah. Why would you get rid of a reliable Jeep to buy an unreliable Land Rover? You're just crazy. Okay, after owning this Land Rover for about a year, I can tell you with confidence, they were right. Welcome to the most expensive episode I've ever filmed. I'm T3, and it's time to drive. By the way, guys, the giveaway is still going on because we haven't quite yet hit 10K subscribers, but we are so freaking close. Share this episode and let people know. Once we hit 10,000 subscribers, you have a chance to win a very cool watch. You have 3 chances to win 3 very cool watches, actually. A Vero Workhorse, an Orient, and another Orient Aviation watch. Very cool watches all around, and yeah, it's gonna kick off once we hit 10K subs. So what are you doing? Stop dilly-dallying. God. So without giving too much information away about an upcoming project, we are working with a watchmaker to film a little thing, and my Land Rover is going to be in it. We are driving to a destination. It's going to be some really fun footage, and my Land Rover had to be part of the project, so I went to do some establishing shots, get some cool moving pictures, also known as video, of my Land Rover, and everything was going fine, right? There were no real difficult obstacles, nothing felt like we would have broken something, there was no errors, no warnings, everything just went swimmingly. But once we got off the trail and we were on like the mountain road heading back home, the gauge cluster lit up like a freaking Christmas tree, man. And I got the dreaded suspension fault warning. Now this can mean a few things. Either an air strut is broken, or the compressor has failed, or all of the above. All I knew was that enough pressure was gone within the system that the truck was just slammed. It looked like just the craziest, just stance life, ugly, disgusting thing you would ever see. And I'm not trying to disparage that community. That, you know, that takes a lot of dedication to have a car like that. But this Land Rover is not really one that I would want to be like that, and that's how it was. And we were stuck that way, and it was just smoking, disgusting, burnt rubber smell the whole way down. We would have to go like a few inches and then pull over, and then go like a few more inches, then pull over, because things were getting like crazy. It was bad. Because again, my 32-inch tires aren't enormous. My Jeep TJ had what, like almost 36-inch tires, but when you're slammed almost on like I don't want to say I was laying on the frame rail, but like we were as low as the truck could possibly go. And the tires were in the wheel well. So we were literally dragging the rubber against the wheel well. It was just a miserable experience. It was loud. It was smoky. It was stinky because it was whatever. I just needed to make sure we could get off the mountain safely. So now we had this project deadline that we had to hit. We had a broken truck, and I was left with making some like split-second decisions. Am I just going to rent like a Jeep or something and go over there? But that's not really going to showcase my vehicle, and it's not going to be as fun. It's not going to be as good of footage because I'm not going to be driving a rented vehicle the same way I would drive my own. Or am I going to try to get this repaired, or am I just going to sell the damn thing? Well, I chose to try to get it repaired, but instead of repairing the air suspension, I figured, I'm just gonna switch to a conventional coil system. So I got some old Man Emu Coil Conversion. This is an air to coil conversion kit, because enough people have had these problems that they're now making kits for it. So here's reason like 1069. I freaking love the 944. All right, so when I have car parts, obviously I'm going to choose to use the Land Rover to move those parts, but for some reason, no matter what I'm carrying, everything fits in this 944. It's insane. All right, time to get these on the Land Rover. We're doing away with the air struts, we're doing away with the air compressor, and we're putting in some proper shocks and coils. Now, this kit from Old Man Emu does add 2 inches, but That's how it was in the normal setting once I did the Johnson rod lift with the air suspension. So again, with the air suspension on normal height, I had 2.5 inches. Then when you pressed the button to off-road mode, you would get another 2 inches. So I want to still have that max height. So what did I do? I got the Proud Rhino SYE kit, which when you put it with conventional coils, they just end up being essentially spacers. It's a spacer kit. It's an expensive, overpriced spacer kit. So now I have a total of 4 inches of lift going on the Land Rover. So it's essentially going to be at the same height that it was on max lift with the air suspension and the Johnson rod kit. But again, now I have the peace of mind of not having that suspension fault warning and going into limp mode when I'm on the trail. Because again, having it happen on the road when I'm trying to get down is bad, but not terrible. Having it happen in the middle of the desert or in some like desolate area where it's just me or it's just Connie and I, that's a different story. So I'd rather mitigate that issue altogether and just have some coils. Now, what are the pros? What are the cons? Well, the pros, I mean, I just kind of listed it, right? More reliable, don't have to worry about it, easier to fix, and cheaper to fix and maintain. What are the cons? Well, there unfortunately are a bunch of cons. The air suspension is very supple, very soft. It's very dynamic. So again, it regulates itself. It's very, very smooth traveling at highway speeds with this big vehicle, and then having the ability to go to access height to lower it or to go to off-road height and lift it. That's very, very nice, and it's nothing I've ever experienced with any other vehicle. So a con is I'm not going to have that ability anymore to change the height setting. I'll still have the off-road settings as far as the traction goes, but as far as the height goes, I'm stuck at max height. The next con would be that conventional shocks and coils, it's probably going to be a little bit of a bumpier ride, maybe a bit stiffer than the soft kind of cloudy air suspension was, but I'm used to driving cars with coilovers, and I'm used to driving vehicles that don't have air suspension, so it's not like this is going to be anything that I'm not used to. And perhaps the biggest con is that this cost me like $2,000 just for the parts. So this is why I'm calling this the most expensive episode I've ever made, because to film that like initial sequence of the truck driving around off-road, I had to fill up the gas tank, so that's like almost $200 because I live in LA, baby. I'm trying to leave, don't worry. I'm going to leave. And then we got this catastrophic suspension failure, so that has to be gutted and put back in. So yeah, it is what it is, guys, but it's funny. I had this whole 2-part episode pertaining to Porsches that we were working on, but then this happened, so this is kind of like what I have to talk about. So we are going to get this done before the deadline with the upcoming project. I'm very excited. And you still got some cool Land Rover footage that you saw during this episode. So don't worry, it's still going to be cool, still going to be even more capable than it was before, and it's going to be way more reliable. That's one more system I don't have to worry about. So you were right, should have kept my Jeep, but I'm very happy I have my Land Rover. And I'm joking. If I could have, I would have owned both. But the Land Rover, I still absolutely love it. It still does everything I needed it to do, and it does it very well. But this failure, again, I'm happy it didn't happen when I was someplace very remote. Just Land Rover things. All right, guys, I will catch you on the next one. Let me know what you think about this. Do you have any experience with cars with air suspension? Do you have any experience doing this conversion? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll vent with you over there, and we can cry about why we bought some stupid, unreliable British vehicle. All right, guys. Love ya. Also, here's some footage of my Inca snail eating a dead neon tetra found in one of my tanks. I didn't know where else to share this, so I figured I'd put it here, so now you're seeing it.